I feel like shit.
Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days.
It's just one of those
happy days. The weekend comes, let's not go home.
It's just one of those days where you don't wanna wake up. Everything is everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you wanna justify ripping someone's head off. No human contact, and if you interact, your life is on contract. Your best bet,
Just knock it off, you scum bucket.
it's just one of those days. It's just one of
Monday,
those.
happy days.
It's just one of
Tuesday,
those.
happy days.
It's just one of those
Happy days.
days.
The weekend comes, let's not go home. Ready to make stand.
It's just one of those days, feeling like a freight train. First one to complain, leaves with the bloodstain. Damn right, I'm a maniac. You better shoot, cause I'm fucking up your program. And if you're stuck up, you just locked up. Next in line to get fucked up. Your best bet is to stay away, motherfucker. It's just,
I'm losing my cool.
it's all about
Monday, happy days.
It's just one of
Tuesday,
those,
happy days.
it's just one of those
Happy days.
days.
The weekend comes, let's not go home. Ready to make stand. These days.
Feel like shit. My suggestion is keep your distance. 'Cause right now I'm dangerous. Right now I'm dangerous.
Something's happening to the bonds.
If my day keeps going this way, I just might.
I'm gonna pop you one so you'll stop playing games.
Give me something great. Give me something great. I hope you know I'm like a chainsaw. A chainsaw. A motherfucking chainsaw.
What?
So come and get it.
What we got here is a case of mistaken identity, you know? See, now this here,
Not Robert.
And I just made it. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chief Moody, and welcome to the Mood of the Nation podcast, episode 235. Fuck, it sounded like Mark Collett there just for a second. No, I was sorting something out with the donation link for my PayPal, which is just in the chat right now. It's also there as a pinned comment. You can easily find it in the description down below, but I thought I would put it as a pinned comment as I normally do, just in case, basically. But yeah, so quite a big turnout. Well, it's not massive, but yeah, surprising turnout as a matter of fact. There's about 16 people now watching the show, which normally at this point in time I would normally get around 5, maybe 9 people watching, maybe 10 people if I'm watching, but we're here now. So I really want to thank Joe Marsh, Mark Collett, and I can't remember who runs the official Patriotic Alternative Telegram page on Telegram, but they've also posted that on that channel as well, which again, thank you very much for doing so. I greatly appreciate that. So there's quite a few familiar faces in the chat, which is really good to see, and I'm actually surprised some of you actually did come along, because I was supposed to put something about tonight's stream on WhatsApp, but I just completely forgot all about it. But anyways, let's have a quick look and see who's in the chat just now. So we got Budgie Burger, we got Joe Marsh based in Scotland, we got Aunt Sally, Chaz Smash, Tight Scotsman is here as well. How you guys doing? Thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation. Now, as I've said in my Telegram post, oh, and by the way, if you can hear some snoring in the background, wait a minute, I'll just put the camera on him. Yeah, there's my dog Oris. He's just chilling out. So I apologize in advance when he's like snoring and all of that. But you know what? French bulldogs are, or is it a French bulldog? His breed is terminology or something. I don't know, a little Frenchy, whatever. But yeah, he'll be sleeping most of the time anyway. But yeah, he's just Otis is there. He's just chilling out. So, but yeah, we're here today. And as I mentioned in my Telegram post earlier this morning, tonight's episode is only going to be for an hour long. I was planning on doing a stream just after the conference, whether it be during the weekend or maybe even Monday, but I figured, you know what, I'm off work for the next few days after that. Today is my last day being off, and of course I'm back in tomorrow. And I thought, you know what, maybe I should just take that time to just chill out and just relax, and then at some point I'll do a stream just before I head back to work. And of course, today is Wednesday, the 8th of October, which I actually can't believe it's October already, but we're here now. So and it's also the Halloween season, which is really cool to see. Oh, just one second. Shared stream link in Turning Point Scotland. What? Right. Well, based in Scotland, I'm not sure if they'll be happy with that, but you know, I greatly appreciate you sharing the link, especially for Turning Point Scotland, or I don't know if it's all Turning Point UK, but anyways, but thank you very much for doing that. But yes, tonight's episode will specifically be dedicated towards the Patriotic Alternative Conference of 2025. As of course, I was one of the attendees at this year's conference. As I mentioned, I can't remember which episode it was on my show, but I did remember talking about that I was going to come to as much PA-related events as humanly possible, that being the camp, demonstrations or protests, and of course the conferences. Well, so far so good. I haven't missed a single one of them. There have been some demonstrations or protests in the past where I wasn't able to go to due to being work commitments or like some personal commitments at the time, or maybe it's because of financial commitment, or not commitments but financial difficulties at that point. But I managed to get to the most of them as much as possible with that, and of course I managed to get to this year's conference, which is not too bad. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be talking about really what went down with the conference, and yeah, we'll see from there with that. Just real quick in the chat, I do see Toffee is there. How you doing, Toffee? Thank you very much for watching. He writes, gutted I couldn't make the conference. The Woodlander had an extra ticket for me, but I was working, unfortunately. I would have loved to have met Jared, as in Jared Taylor. But yes, but it's a shame you couldn't come, Toffee. Hopefully I'll see you, or hopefully we'll see you at either the camp or maybe the next conference next year. But we'll definitely wait and see with that. I don't know. With regards to the PA conference, I'm not too sure how. I keep seeing this every single year after the conference is done, but this time around, we actually got some pretty big names this year. We had, of course, Jared Taylor. We had Steve Laws coming back, which was really cool to see. Laura gave a speech, of course. Mark gave a speech. I believe there was another foreign guest that showed up. It was Dan Erickson, I think the gentleman's name was. The national is, I believe, he's based in Sweden. If I got that correctly, and I believe I did see him on Mark's PWR at the time. I can't remember what episode it was, but I believe it was on that as well. And there was another gentleman. I'm not too sure if he's with another nationalist group, that being the British Democrats or some other group. I'm not entirely too sure or remember, but there were 6 speakers nonetheless. And saying that, I really am not too sure on how we're going to top it for next year in terms of like guest speakers. But if I were to guess on who I would like to come to next year's guest speakers, I would definitely like to see possibly like another American guest coming along. Hopefully it would be either, for me anyway, hopefully it would be either Eric Stryker or Mike Penovich, or Mike Enoch as he was known at the time. That's only wish fulfillment. I'm not too sure if that's maybe possible, but who knows. So I was actually really surprised that Jared Taylor could come along this year's PA conference. So I mean, if that's possible, then you know anything's possible really when it comes to that. Sandra Spicy Spanish Salami Sandwich, how you doing? Thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation. Hopefully you'll be watching along. Also, I managed to find something to help with my throat, because normally on the show I never have a drink or anything like that at all, and either halfway through the show or maybe towards the end of it, my throat gets unbelievably parched. So I got a drink just in case with that. So let's see. Toffee in the chat writes, Morgoth would be a great guest speaker. Yeah, that's a good shout. Morgoth. I'm trying to think, like, who wasn't at a PA? I know the Golden One was at a PA conference, but that was like before I joined PA. So maybe that was maybe the very first one, or maybe the second. I'm not entirely too sure, but either way, he did. Maybe he can come back to the next one. Who knows? But I'm trying to think like who exactly would like to come to one of these future guest speakers for the PA conferences. But anyway, so yeah, so I'll just briefly touch upon my little story on how I got there, what the venue and all that was like, and what was it like traveling back to Scotland. So I got ready. So Thursday night, I was getting ready. I got my rucksack and I got my suit and all that, everything down and ready. It was actually kind of funny because I didn't actually get to do that until that Friday morning, just before I was about to leave. I was just after work on Thursday. I was just like really tired and exhausted, and I thought, right, I'll just like I'll leave it till like the very end. Of course, the very end being that Friday morning. But anyway, Ryder Iron Spears in the chat. How you doing? Thank you very much for being in the chat. Did you smash the like button on the way in? Oh yes, folks. If you can smash that like button, if you can do so, that would be much appreciated. Sam Miller. I think I recognize the name Sam Miller. But that's a good shout, Chaz Smash. With regards to that. Sorry, just 1 second here. Nah, it's nothing. Okay, cool. Right, so I'll get back to the story with the whole conference journey. So, and then of course Friday morning I woke up roundabout or set my alarm for about like I think it was 3:30. Now the reason why I got up so early was because my plan was, and of course I ended up doing that, was that I was going to get up at 3:30. Oh, Samuel, duh, yeah, yeah, Laura's husband. I mean, maybe, maybe next year that he'll come along to the conference. But yeah, well, I'll get to that in a minute. Actually, with regards to that, because I was kind of hoping that Sam would be there this year, but unfortunately, he's. I think he's still under. Well, at least from what I'm aware of when it comes to, I think he's still under, was it probation or house arrest or something like that? But basically, he's prevented from coming to the conference and all of that, which is unfortunate because I think myself and a lot of people would like him to come to the conference. Yeah, even Sandra's spicy Spanish salami sandwich in the chat writes, all of Sam's license conditions end in March. So there you go. So that means he couldn't come to this year's conference. But saying that, hopefully he'll come down to the next conference. And hopefully he might give a speech there, but we'll wait and see with that. But anyway, back to the story. So got up at 3:30. I was going to leave. Well, I did leave the house for about 4 o'clock or maybe just slightly after 4 o'clock. And the reason why I did that was that I was going to walk up to my hometown in Falkirk. And then I was going to get the first bus from Falkirk to Edinburgh in terms of like a bus journey. Then when I got to Edinburgh, then I would walk down to the Edinburgh Waverley bus, not bus station, Edinburgh Waverley train station. So that way I would be getting a train from Edinburgh, and I believe the first stop would be in Derby because there's 2 stops for the journey. The last journey or the last stop before I got to where I was meant to be going was in Leicester. Now Leicester, I'll get to that in a moment, right? So I got the train from Edinburgh to Derby, which was at 7:04 in the morning, which I know that was like really early, but you know, I figured with regards to that, the sooner the better, that type of thing. So I managed to get a train from there. The train ride wasn't that bad. There was a lot of commotion in terms of like the reservation seats because, of course, people would book a reservation ticket online. And unfortunately, people would just sit on the reservation seats. Someone actually sat on my reservation seat, and of course, I had to pick another seat. And I just figured, like, what's even the point of having a reservation if people are just going to do it? I know it's the whole thing, like trying to get bums on seats, but it was just ridiculous nonetheless with that. But saying that, however, it was a lot better once I got to Derby and I was getting a train from Derby to Leicester. So I got the train and managed to get a seat just fine. And then of course I got to Leicester. Now, the accommodation I was staying at the time, I was going to be staying with 4 other people. So I was going to be staying with the Welsh lads, that being Joe Marsh and another person. I won't mention his name because I don't think he's a public person, so just for privacy's sake. And also the 2 other lads who, again, not exactly public people, so I won't mention their names again, just for privacy's sake. With that, now the problem was that the accommodation. There was accommodation at first, but it was meant to be just. I think it was maybe just in the city center, but that got changed considering the fact that it's Leicester, and at the time, from what I've been told about Leicester, it's not exactly a great city to be in when it comes to it. There's a lot of crime there, like knife crime, gun crime. I've also heard that occurs there. So instead of staying there, there was another place we stayed a bit further along. It was a much better location than where we were going to be staying at the time. But the problem with that, however, is that we had to wait until for that new accommodation we were staying in. I think we had to wait until, what was it, 5 p.m. or something like that. So I figured, all right, what if I just, like, me being a bit of a dumbass, I thought, right, I'll just maybe wander around Leicester for a little bit, maybe look around stores, get myself something to eat, and then when it's ready, then Joe, yeah, even Joe in the chat is saying it was literally a ghetto. So that's why we then stayed at that accommodation originally and went to another location instead. So I figured, right, I'll just wait for Joe and the other guy. Again, I won't mention the guy's name for privacy's sake. So as I was waiting, I got to, like, I went to, like, a restaurant, got something to eat, and I thought, it's still a little bit early. I'll just, maybe wander around a little bit. Now, as I was wandering around, I did kind of get the sense of, like, because this was Leicester, and from what I've heard about, from what I've heard about Leicester, I was like, I had this feeling in my head. I was like, I really need to be careful on what I'm doing here, that sort of thing, because there was really just a lot more migrants in that area. There were some white people, but it was a very white minority type of area, and I'm just like, holy shit. But yeah, I was trying to be, like, careful as I possibly can. Then I got a message from Joe saying, they're there. I'm just getting, like, yeah, I'm gonna pick you up, that type of thing. So I managed to meet up with them, got into their car, and then before we went to the new accommodation, we stopped at, like, a nearby pub that was at that new location. I didn't get anything to. I got like maybe a drink, but I didn't get anything to eat because I figured, well, I've already had something to eat already. I figured I might get something maybe later on, because I think we were all meeting up for, like, a hangout on a Friday evening at that point. Anyway, so we did that. I think at that point now it got to about maybe 4:30. Went to the new accommodation. The new accommodation we went to is actually, it was fantastic. It was like, it was a 3-bedroom house, I believe, with 2 rooms with one bed each, and then there's a third room that was, like, had 2 beds type of thing. And it was actually really fantastic, and there was, like, 3 bathrooms, like, 3 toilets, like, sort of idea. Two of those, like, rooms had, like, a shower in them, which was really cool. And yeah, it was fantastic. Later on that day, we went down to another area where we went to a pub. We all met up for, like, a Friday evening meal, and of course a drink here and there. That's where I didn't. Well, I saw Jared Taylor, but I didn't meet him, type of thing, because there was tons of other people that wanted to meet Jared Taylor, as understandably so. But there were a couple people I did spoke to at that evening. One of them being, of course, Steve Laws. I know it was Steve. Him and we did spoke at one PA conference at the time. This must have been, like, maybe late in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. That was, like, the last time we spoke. But this is, like, of course, after he left Homeland Party and all of that. But we had a little chat. He's looking forward to the speech he was going to give for the conference the following day. And that's pretty much all the extent of the conversation, just like a little catch up type of thing. Now for my evening meal, I actually had, like, it was a burger, but what was it they called it? It was like a Quadzilla, I think it was called. Basically, it was like a burger that had like a cheeseburger, but there was, like, 2 patties and 2 slices of chicken, but what type of chicken was that? It's like the kind of chicken you would get if you were to order something like a chicken burger, that type of thing, that sort of idea. So I had that. That almost killed me because I was like, Jesus Christ, it was fantastic, but my God, I felt bloated after that. But yeah, but we did that, and then we got back to the accommodation, and we had like, I think we all went to bed around about maybe 10 or maybe just like 11 o'clock that night, because obviously we were all going to get up early for the conference the following morning anyway. So following morning comes, I woke up, I believe, around about, I think it was maybe 5, maybe like 6 in the morning, because of course I've always up early in the morning anyway because of my work situation, and of course I got up at that point. So we all got ready for the conference. I know Joe and the other gentlemen, they're part of the whole security. Sorry, excuse me, part of the whole security team, and they're all getting ready to meet up with a few people with regards to that. Was great to see you there again, Moody. Thank you very much, James. James L. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think it was good to meet you at the conference again as well. Hopefully to see you at the next PA event. Anyway, so I'll try and wrap up the story as I possibly can, but this is my problem. I just keep going on and on and on. But yeah, so the conference, got to the conference. I did help out with like sorting out a couple of things, like bringing in some stuff from the cars to the actual venue itself. I think it's within the pub area, but anyway, so I managed to get all that sorted out. Everyone started to come along, and there was about, and from what I can gather, what I saw at the conference, and there was a lot of people there this year. I could definitely confirm that there was definitely a lot of people there, about maybe 190, maybe around about 200 people that were there that day. So to the people who hear the amount of people that were actually at the PA conference and doubt it, as someone who actually was at the PA conference, I can confirm that yes, that actually was the case. So that there was about 190, about 200 people that were at the PA conference this year. So, which is really good to see with that. No expense spared cola, yeah, indeed. So, well, it's like the really cheap cola, but it's actually quite nice, surprisingly. I'm not seeing it because as a coping mechanism or anything like that, but no, it's actually, if you were to ask me if I were to drink this or like the classic Coca-Cola, I would definitely go for this. It's actually much better, surprisingly, in fact, because I've tried the similar colas like that at other places, and none of them are actually really that good, except for maybe this one. So this was actually a lot better in my opinion, but that's just me when it comes to it. So this would be now 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Everything was all sorted and ready to go. That's when we had the speeches start to happen. So Laura was the first speaker of the day. Her speech, I can't remember what exactly her speech was about, but she gave a pretty good speech nonetheless. The second person, and again, I can't remember the gentleman's name. Maybe someone who was at the conference this year maybe can actually chime in on who was the second speaker, because I can't remember for the life of me who it was. I think he was a guy who was a member of the British Democrats, and I could be entirely wrong on that, but I remember that the guy did give a short speech at one of the PA conferences either last year or the year before, but I can't remember for the life of me. But I mean, his speech was actually, I probably need to go back and listen to it once it gets uploaded eventually. And yes, for the people that are wondering when the speeches will be coming out, I would imagine, and I think there was a post about this just after the conference, but yes, I believe the speeches will be coming out some point this week. Not exactly sure when exactly. I know the guys in the media team are like working their arses off to get those videos all completed and ready to be uploaded onto other social media platforms. But what I would say on the matter is I would imagine they would be out as soon as humanly possible. Probably either maybe, well, I don't want to say tomorrow because then it's like, well, where are they? I would say maybe towards the end of this week, either end of this week or maybe the start of next week. Maybe sooner, but I'm not too sure. I know, as I said, I know the guys in the media team are like working their arses off to get those videos out and dusted. So, yeah, I would definitely tell people to just wait a bit longer, just be patient. They will be coming out. And from what I've seen in those speeches, a lot of people will definitely be excited and definitely will be enjoying those speeches. I'm just seeing the chat right now. I bought a beer. I bought Jared a beer. That's cool. Yeah, I wish I would have spoken to. Actually, there is a bit of a funny story to that. I'll get to that in a moment or two. So yeah, but just reading the chat a little bit. Toffee in the chat writes Wednesday night cola review with Chief Moody. Yeah, indeed. I would say overall 8 out of 10. I would say I would say to that's my final review. And finally, James L writes Friday special 2 burger meals for the price of 1. That was fantastic actually. Now I think of it, but anyways, so we all had a little short break. Just had a little chat and having a little catch up with a lot of other people. Who last time I seen them was at either the PA camp this year or maybe the PA conference we had last year, but just like a little catch up as you would normally do. Sorry, just real quick. Toffee writes, is Jared an absolute unit? I imagined him as really tall. He was pretty tall. I remember when I did stand next to him. He's certainly taller than me, and I'm like what 5'10", maybe 5'11" or something like that. So yeah, I think he was speaking to Euro. Euro, for you all know, it was the host of the podcast, The Absolute State of Britain, or TASSUP for short. And I know they had a bit of a conversation, and I don't know how tall Euro is, but I know he's slightly tall. I think he's just a bit taller than me, so I think they're around about the same height, maybe 6'1", maybe 6'2", or something like that. But yeah. When it comes to Jared Taylor being like an absolute unit, I do remember the video of him like he was doing like was it push-ups or press-ups or type of thing, and he did it in a certain way with his fingers. But yeah, I think even some people are writing this in the chat. James L writes, he's in good shape for a 74-year-old. Is he actually 74 years old? That's crazy. That. And even Aunt Sally in the chat writes, I asked Jared if his fingertip press-ups were real, and he showed me a video on his phone of him doing them. They are real. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that they would be real, because I do remember that particular video of like the fingertip press-up that he did, which is like, yeah, really impressive to say the least when it comes to it. But yeah, so kind of going back to that story, I did see Jared Taylor was speaking to Euro, and I thought, oh, this could be my perfect opportunity to, introduce myself to Jared Taylor. So I went up to Euro and I shook his hand. I was, oh, Euro, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. Because obviously I've spoken to him in previous PA events, and that was it. I didn't introduce myself to Jared Taylor because I noticed that he and Euro were busy, having a conversation about something, and I was just in the background, just like, yeah. So it's me just being me, just like, oh, I want to introduce myself to a certain person, but unfortunately that wouldn't be the case when it comes to it. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of like that when Blair Cottrell came to the PA conference last year, but the bit of a difference with that was like I actually managed to kind of interact with myself with Blair, despite the fact that Blair told me that I looked like Nick Frost from Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, and I was like, that sounds a bit like a compliment, but also sounds like you're kind of taking the piss a little bit. But I'll take it as a compliment. But thank you very much, Blair. But yeah, it was just yeah, it was my only regret when it comes to Jared Taylor, I wish I actually would have spoken to Jared Taylor. And I think there were a couple of times where I'm like, oh, maybe I can actually speak to him now. But I see again, he's busy talking to other people. And I'm just like, right. Because I didn't want it to be rude and I didn't want it to bother him or anything like that at all. So I thought, right, I'll just leave it be for now. So, maybe next time, to say the least, when it comes to that. But I did speak to Steve Wallace. I also spoken to Woodlander. I know he was there at the conference. So I actually spoke to like a few people that I spoke to in the previous events and all of that. But anyways, going back to the speeches. So the was Jody Kay. Jody Kay was there. I managed to get a hug from her. And again, just like a little hello and all of that, just acknowledgement that we kind of met up with each other. Because again, she was busy with something else at that point. Again, speaking to other people, and again, I didn't want it to be incredibly rude, so I thought, right, I'll just leave them be and maybe speak to them at a later point. Answering the chat writes, the thing with Jared, people were constantly waiting for an opportunity to talk to him. He was never on his own. Yeah, I know. Every single time when I saw him at the conference, or even during that Friday evening meal, everyone was talking with him. Like everyone was with him every single time when it comes to it. So it was like, well, what can you really do with that? But there's always the next time. I would say maybe a next time with Jared Taylor, but. If Ayatollah was there at the conference as well, I didn't get a chance to speak to him, but again, it's probably because it was busy with speaking to other people. But if Tola didn't wear a Hawaiian shirt, I'll be disappointed in him. Well, I didn't notice this year, but he did came to the conference this year with regards to that. Anyways, the break came to an end. The two other speakers that came up were Dan Erickson, which, I mean, it was all right. With that speech, I did went to another seating location because I think at that point someone took my seat or something like that. So I thought, all right, I'll just go to like another seat. And I was trying to listen to Dan Erickson, but I was kind of drifting off because you gotta remember I did woke up really early that morning, and I usually at that point in the afternoon I would start to drift off because I'm like really tired. And I'm like drifting off and I'm trying to keep myself awake. And I'm like, oh, and then it came to the point where I think I started hearing myself snoring a little bit. And I'm like, oh, I better wake up. But from what I can gather from Dan Erickson's speech and what other people have told me was his speech was about, we need to stop with this whole, what was that? Being divided with one another, and we should put our differences aside and actually start working together, type of thing. Which, if that were the case, I definitely do agree with them on that. I definitely agree with them that yeah, of course, that we definitely need to put our differences aside and actually start to work with them. 1 second, I believe. Dr. Niall McRae. Yeah, I think wasn't he? I remember someone mentioning that he was. I'm a fucking idiot, right? Right. So yeah, so the second speaker, yes, Niall McRae. I hope I'm pronouncing his first name right. It's this gentleman right here, if you can all see. He actually is. I think he does work for the Unity News Network. Now, I believe originally David Clues was meant to be there as a guest, but unfortunately he couldn't go due to something that came up that he had to attend to, sort of thing. Niall McRae, again, I hope I pronounced his name correctly, but Niall McRae was the guest speaker. He was the second speaker. So there we go. So I know who did send me that. I'm not going to mention their name, but thank you very much for sharing me that on Telegram. That's much appreciated. So, yeah, we'll then get into the fourth speaker of today, and that would be, of course, Steve Laws. So Steve Laws, I'm not going to mention what he says in that speech, but in my... Oh, no, he's with the Workers of Britain Uh yeah, right. So yeah, Niall McRae is a member. He's with the Workers of Britain Union, right? Okay. So then maybe he wrote some articles for Unity News Network. I mean, if that's the case, that would make a lot of sense, right? Just ignore me. Sorry. But yeah, going back to the fourth speaker, that being Steve Laws. Now, as I said, I'm not going to say what he talks about in that speech. The only thing I would say that the main subject matter he does cover is remigration, as you would expect. But there were some things he said in that speech that I thought that were really daring, shall I say, really ballsy. And that's all I'm going to say on the matter. I don't want to spoil it or anything like that at all. So yeah, I would definitely wait until his speech comes out. And yeah, James was with us in the pub. Right, right. Sorry, one sec. It's this goddamn throat. 1 second. Ah. That's what I need. Drinking out a bottle like a savage. Anyway, so James in the chat writes, "We prepared the Steve Laws video and just about to release it." Well, there you go. Maybe well then again, Mark's PWR will be starting at 7 p.m. So yeah, definitely, folks, keep an eye out on Steve Laws's X or maybe Telegram. I think it's gonna be on Steve. But anyways, just watch out for Steve Law's speech that will be uploaded as soon as possible. Which, yeah, I definitely would agree. In my opinion, Steve Law's speech was the best speech in the conference this year, and you won't be disappointed. You will not be disappointed. Excuse me. So after that, I had another break, chat with a few people. Then we got back in for the final two speakers, that being, of course, Jared Taylor and, of course, Mark Collett. Jared Taylor was, again, a really good speaker. He gave a really good speech about the future of, again, I might be paraphrasing, but I think from what I can gather with his speech, it was more about certain political events that had happened. Of course, he mentioned the recent assassination of Charlie Kirk. And overall, it was a really good speech. I still think, or still believe, that Steve Law's speech was the best, but that was just my opinion. It was certainly a hard hitting and yeah, and to the point. Yeah, definitely, absolutely, that's the case. But yeah, so Jared Taylor, and I believe once he finished his speech, everyone, of course, gave a standing ovation, and I saw Jared Taylor was still standing there. We were just like, thank you, like just really appreciating the applause from the audience. So once he gave his speech, then of course Mark gave his speech. And see with the speeches, I need to go back and watch them. I need to watch them when they're uploaded onto the social media, because I can't. Some of them I do remember quite well, but of course, for obvious reasons, I don't want to end up spoiling them for people who haven't seen them. So I would say wait until they come out, and I'll need to give them a watch when they do get uploaded onto the internet. But anyways, so Mark gave a speech, really good speech as always. The event was done and dusted. Certainly was a success this year. We all stayed. I think a few of us went home because obviously they weren't going to stay for the evening meal. I stayed with a couple of the lads who were staying at the accommodation I was staying at, or I end up staying at. We end up staying for the evening meal as well. And then I think we got into the car. Me and the two lads who were staying at the accommodation. We left round about, I think it was maybe just after 7, maybe 7:30. Will they be on YouTube? Probably. I don't know, because I know PA does have. Sorry, excuse me. God fucking damn it. See, this is what I mean. Every single time I try and talk and my throat gets parched, this is why I need this drink to help me out. I should do it. Sorry, folks. I'm sorry, Chaz Smash. Yes, to answer your question, I know PA does have an official YouTube channel, so probably they'll be uploaded onto there as well. Joe's channel. I don't know if Joe Marsh will be uploading them, but we'll just need to wait and see when it comes to that. So, with regards to the speeches, but yeah, we'll wait and see with that. So, yeah, me and the two lads were driving back to the accommodation. We actually got to the accommodation and we thought, well, it was still quite early in the night. We thought we might as well just maybe have a few drinks and maybe just go to like a nearby pub or whatever. So we thought, all right, let's do that. And the pubs in question, there was actually a nearby town. I think it was like a small villagey type of town-ish area. There was actually like a 10-15 minute walk, which was not too bad. So we went there. Went to like a couple of places where we went there to get a couple of drinks. And then around about, I would say about just after 10:30, maybe approaching 11 o'clock, we got back to the accommodation and slept for the rest of the night. And then this would be like early in the morning. I woke up around about 4 in the morning because I was kind of like, I was kind of thinking, well, how is it going to get back? I did have something planned, so it wasn't going to be like a train this time around because the train journeys prices were like extortionate. So it was either £90 or like £120, and I was like, I'm not spending that amount. So we thought there must be like an alternative method of getting back to Edinburgh. Of course, there was a coach option, which was about 25, I think it was 31 quid, which I was like, well, that's the cheapest option. A bit of a longer journey, but you know, as long as I get there in one piece and with a price like that, I might as well just take the offer. So the only thing now was how was I going to get there? Because where I was staying, and I would have to go to the Leicester St. Margaret's bus station. Now, if I were to walk there, it would be like a 2-hour-long walk journey. So I was like, I'm not going to do that. I mean, if I was desperate enough, then sure, but I'm sure the guys, you know, wouldn't be up for me doing that. So the only thing would be to get a car and drive from the accommodation to that bus station, which would only take about an hour. And the guys, thankfully, they were just like, well, yeah, you know what? We'll help you get there in one piece. We'll help you get there as early as possible. We ended up getting to that bus station in the morning. I think it was about 22, maybe 8:45 in the morning, which was perfect because I think that National Express coach that was just arriving anyway. So to the gentleman that dropped me off at the bus station, again, I don't know if you watch this, but thank you very much for doing that. I greatly appreciate that. I hope to see you guys again in the next event. I managed to get onto the coach. The coach journey was from Leicester, which would have been at that bus stop at 9 o'clock in the morning. And it was estimated that I would arrive in Edinburgh at around, well, according to the ticket I got, it was the estimate time was about maybe 5:20. But of course, I got there around about like just after 5 o'clock in the evening anyway. But the point is, got on the coach all right, got there in one piece, managed to get back to Edinburgh. Now, the thing was, the only last piece of journey I had to do was get a train from Edinburgh back to Falkirk. And of course, I had to wait for a train. And I was waiting because at that point, this would have been like just after 5:30, approaching 6 o'clock. And at that point, I was just like, I really want to get back home now. So, but we managed to get back to the train all right. And I didn't get back home in my actual place. I think it was about maybe just before 7 o'clock. So it took like a full-on day, but I managed to get back there in one piece. So that was my journey. that was my whole experience with this year's PA conference. So yeah, looking forward to next year's conference. Well, I'm looking forward to the PA camp next year, which again, this year's camp event was really good. And I'm not too sure how we're going to top it next year, but we'll see. And I'm gonna promise myself for the next camping event, I'm not gonna go hiking because this year's PA camp hike was a bit much for me. I'll say that much. It was definitely rough to say the least. So I knew I should have brought a bottle with me, like a water bottle, just to kind of help with the hydration. But so next year's PA camp, I'm not gonna go to any hike. I'm gonna treat it more like a holiday, and I'm just gonna make sure that 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 I was just gonna chill and relax when I get there. Do the midges not like darkened rooms, Moody? Well, no. So, I just never thought to have any like lights. I keep forgetting that it's actually getting a lot darker now than it used to be during the summer. But yeah, so that was the conference and all of that. Time is it? I just got. I'll go on for the show for another 10 minutes. I know Mark's PWR is going to be starting in just about 10 minutes or so. So, what we can do is, in the meantime, if you want to ask me a question in the chat, please feel free to ask me a question in there just now. If you want to send in a donation or two, you could go on. You can click on the PayPal link, which is either up there or in the or in the description down below. God damn it. Sorry. Sorry, is that whole? It's my throat. But yeah, if you want to send in a donation or two, you can either click on the PayPal link, or if you want to ask me a question, feel free to ask me in the chat. Jazz Smash, I think, is the first person with a question. So Jazz Smash in the chat writes, why has PA not taken advantage of the migrant hotel demonstrations? I mean, I would say we have. I mean, I know my lot went down to Falkirk recently. We went to the Falkirk demonstration. It was fine for like maybe the first 2, maybe 3 weeks, because we were doing banner drops. We were also giving out our white minority leaflets to the public. No issues, by the way, whatsoever. We had never had anyone telling us, "Oh, you can't send these out; like they're a bit too extreme," blah blah blah. No issues whatsoever. And then, of course, when the media starts to come out, like, oh, certain groups of you know what, and all of that, are part of this demonstration, and that's when, of course, the main demonstrators at the Falkirk demonstration were like, "Look, we don't mind you guys being here, but just from now on, don't give out your leaflets, don't do your banner drops and all that. If you want to do that, you can do your own demonstration like further away." And it's like, mate. Like, the fact of the matter is, like, they're going to call you all these names regardless of where you stand, like, politically. They're going to call you all of that simply for the fact that you are against these migrants coming into these hotels type of thing. So that's my lot. Even James L in the chat writes, we were at the Gloucestershire, I'm going to butcher the name, Gloucestershire. I'm going to butcher the name. I apologize. I'm not good with English names. I'm sorry. One's recently and again on Sunday. Yes, that's correct. Can't remember what region that was, but that was. But that's true in that case. There have been a few PA regions that actually have went to demonstrations, either acknowledging themselves as like PA. Basically, the point is we have been to these migrant hotel demonstrations. In fact, I think it was a group in Southeast or Southwest actually did a video on this not too long ago, where they had a demonstration with the general public, and standing outside of the hotel, they're housing migrants and all of that. So yeah, I mean, we're definitely are showing up to these demonstrations, definitely in that case. Random, but sorry, this is from Toffee. Random, but why that lefty Hassan Piker? Well, I think we all know who that is. He's been caught abusing his dog on his live stream the past 24 hours. Absolutely vile. I did see a clip of that. I think it was a clip on like X or something with that. The dog was clearly wanting to move around because it's been sitting there for the past few hours. And Hazan was like, I had like a little buzzer type of thing because the dog was wearing an electric collar. And Hazan was like, God damn it. And it just like it started zapping the dog. I'm just like, look, if the dog wants to move around, obviously it's a dog. It wants to move around because it's been there for the past few hours. Like, yeah, he's clearly just like at this point, just abusing the dog. From what people have said, like he's been doing that on that stream for like hours, and the dog has been in that position for hours. The dog's clearly trying to move around, but Hazan was not having it and starts to electrocute the dog, which yeah is absolutely just sickening. The fact that people like him claim to be the good, busybodies and have the moral high ground when clearly they're like the biggest pieces of shit in society. But that's what you get from these types of people. So James L writes again, we must attend all demos representing PA and our talking points despite the Slipknot presence. No, I agree with that. I think with my law, we're still going to attend the Falkirk demonstrations and still have a presence there because, yeah, this idea, and you keep hearing a lot of these Slipknot types who are just like, oh, it's nothing to do with race, it's everything to do with culture. It's like me, I've actually said this point at the conference as well, but a lot of these people are just like, oh, like it's nothing to do with race, it's everything to do with culture. It's like me, culture is everything is partly to do with race. Like it's all of this going on is 100% to do with race. Look at all the demonstrators who are against the migrant hotels. Yeah, there's like maybe like a non-white here and there, but the vast majority of the people protesting there are in fact white. It's definitely has a racial aspect to it. Definitely in that case. Yeah, exactly. Topic. Culture is downstream from race. Yeah, exactly that. I'll just wait a couple more minutes because I know PWR will be starting shortly. Anyway, and definitely keep an eye out on Steve Woz's speech that will be coming out hopefully later on today. So folks, you're definitely getting a wide range of shows going on when it comes to it. So there's my show, then there's Mark's show, and then finally there'll be Steve Woz's speech, hopefully. Oh, and also PWR that Mark's going to be live at 7 p.m. That's where he's going to have David Clues as a guest on that show tonight anyway. So, yeah, can't wait for that. Yeah, culture is a result of one's race. Exactly. Joski, I hope I pronounced it right, but thank you very much. Yeah, definitely that is the case. Anyways, in fact, I'll wait for like one more minute and then I'll leave the show. Joe Marsh in the chat writes, Slipknots are basically too scared to fight without a get out of jail card, spineless Gibbs. Yeah, so indeed, I agree with that, Joe. Chat Smash in the chat writes, will you be doing more regular shows again? Possibly. I know I keep seeing in the past, like I was gonna do this, like make more regular shows, and I never really fulfill my promise when it comes to it. But I'm doing a show today. I'll probably do another one on Saturday, this coming Saturday, that is. Again, I can't guarantee it, but I'll try my best when it comes to it. And then I'll see on when I can actually do a regular scheduled streaming type of thing. So I'm gonna try. So basically, long story short, I'll try my best to make more regular shows as humanly possible. I know there's been like a lot of events that have happened besides the PA conference that has happened, but yeah, I'll try my best to come back with more regular episodes and see if we can talk some more. Oh, is it James? Oh, is it James? I'll just pop it in the chat. Hold on one sec. The Steve Voice speech is online. Well, there you go, folks. There you go. Perfect. That's excellent. So my show is coming to an end just soon. Steve Woz's speech will be online. I think it's online just now. Mark will be going live at 7 p.m. So just about a few minutes with his guest David Clues on PWR. 7:30 tomorrow. YouTube, Tony Marsh show, National Front Chairman, good show. I'm off to watch that. Fair enough. Yeah, in that case, folks, I'm going to be heading off now just at this moment in time. So I want to thank everyone for coming along. I think the peak viewership number was about maybe 16, maybe 17 people that watched the show, which is really good to see. So I'm going to try and make more regular episodes as I possibly can. So I don't have a specific day on when I do stream, but I'll try and see if I can figure that out at some point. But in the meantime, thank you all very much for watching tonight's episode. Do check out Mark's PWR. Once you're finished with that, you can then check out Steve Law's speech, which will be uploaded at this point in time as well. And yeah, so basically tonight you'll have a whole lineup of content essentially. So definitely. And thank you all very much for watching tonight. This is Chief Moody signing out. You have been watching the Mood of the Nation podcast, and I will see you all in the next episode. Take care, stay safe, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening, enjoy the weekend when it comes, and I'll see you all in the next one, hopefully Saturday, but we'll see. Thank you all, and good night. Take care.